Welcome, everybody, to the Buddhist Recovery Network Academy. I'm Susanna, joining you from Helsinki, Finland, and I will be your host today. I'm a Buddhist in recovery from multiple addictions. I'm training for ordination in Theravada Buddhist Center. I facilitate both 8-step recovery meetings and mindfulness-based addiction recovery courses here in Finland. I'm the vice president of the board of the Buddhist Recovery Network and at your service tonight here. And we have Beth doing the tech today. Thanks for your generosity. And today we have a teaching offered by our academy teacher, Mikey Livid. And I will be telling you a little bit more about the teaching, the topic of which is recovering the heart, loving kindness as a path to addiction recovery. I will be telling you more about the teaching and our excellent teacher in just a moment. So about the Dana. All of our teachings are given freely, and we're blessed with some amazing teachers who have experience on the cushion, experience working with the body, speech, and mind, experience in the ongoing practice of recovery by the way of Dharma. As we practice the Buddha's teaching of generosity, we invite you to give dana that will be given to support our ongoing Buddhist Recovery Network meetings and to support the teacher. You can give on a one-time or recurring basis using the link posted in the chat field. We sincerely thank you for your generosity. And Beth will share with you the information how to give dana. You can check it in the chat field. And then it's my pleasure to introduce our guest teacher. So Mikey Livid, him, is a Buddhist teacher, author, and counselor. Mikey is the guiding teacher at Wild Heart Meditation Center in Nashville, Tennessee. He regularly brings Buddhist meditation classes into addiction treatment centers, prisons, and a variety of settings. Mikey is the author of Blood, Guts, and Buddhism. I love the title. The Dharma of Horror Movies, Heartbreak, and the Nature of Suffering, which is set to be out in 2026. Mikey is the co-host of the punk rock mental health podcast Punks on Hope, and is the singer of the punk band The Rip Taylors. Ria, hopefully you can correct me, if I got that wrong. But then about the teaching. Loving kindness as a path to addiction recovery. There's a saying you might have heard. The opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. And if you've ever felt the deep loneliness that often comes with addiction, you know how true that statement is. But reconnection isn't always easy, especially when we carry shame, regret, or pain. One powerful tool offered by the Buddhist tradition is metta, a loving kindness meditation. While mindfulness has become a mainstream resource in therapeutic and recovery spaces, metta remains a quiet, often overlooked companion, one that may hold the key to healing the relational and emotional wounds at the core of addiction. Loving kindness meditation invites us to meet our pain with gentleness, to relate to ourselves and others with care instead of judgment. It nurtures a heart that includes rather than excludes. This is a heart that recovers its natural capacity for connection, compassion, and belonging. In this talk and guided meditation, we'll explore how loving kindness practice supports addiction recovery, not as a supplement to willpower or self-control, but as a radical path to reconnection with ourselves, our communities, and our innate caring nature. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to feel ready. Just bring your heart. So welcome, Mikey. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, deep bows, Susanna. Peace and love, peace and love. My heart is full of gratitude to you, to Beth. Oh, my, deep friend Beth that I love so much, and the Buddhist Recovery Network, my new friend. So, yeah, look at Beth bowing. That's what's up. And if we're talking about connection, that we're here connecting with one another, can we just connect with some good old-fashioned spirit fingers? I just give them. Even if you don't have your camera on, just do it. We're all in this together. Come on, I see some of you not even doing it. Like, this is the positive peer pressure of recovery. Yeah, so I'm getting wild. All right, I appreciate that. We're all in this together. Oh, and speaking of all in this together, it is such a great offering that we're meeting here today. You know, sometimes I get down on the world. You know, we live in a fucking mess of a world these days. And there's something beautiful about acknowledging that, taking time for ourselves, looking into this heart, cultivating loving kindness, caring for one another within this group does affect the world in positive ways. It's just something about this. When we find peace within, it naturally has a ripple effect to our community, to our families, to our friends, to the larger world. And so, what you're doing here today is a great offering. And I want to give you props. In whatever way your recovery is showing up, whether it's been hard or it's been a long time, I have deep gratitude for you showing up, because this is what I believe in betters the world. And so just taking time to meditate, especially on some loving kindness, is a worthwhile endeavor. And so I'm here as your cheerleader. I'm here as your guide. I got your back. I'm fucking rooting for you. And so when we're going into this lesson, what I want to do with our time here together, I want to start with just a formal loving kindness meditation. I want to front load it a little bit, tell you a little bit about the methods that I've found helpful in loving kindness meditation. And then when we start doing this meditation, what I want to do is go into a talk afterwards, which will describe the benefit of loving kindness meditation as it relates to our addiction recovery. And as was said by Susanna, we'll open it up to a Q&A afterwards. You feel me? And if you are feeling me, how are you going to show me you're feeling me? At any point you're feeling anything I'm saying, throw up some spirit fingers. Let's not be so serious about this. At any point, you know, if I'm saying something and I'm giving my heart, I want to see that you're with me. So please, at any point, throw up those spirit fingers. All right? So let me talk a little bit about loving kindness meditation. Loving kindness meditation, or metta in the Buddhist tradition, METTA, is the practice of meditating on phrases typically. The phrases I will use are, may I be at ease, may I be at peace, may I be kind and gentle with myself, and may I be filled with loving kindness. And you're going to hear me say this over and over and over again, because that's the invitation, to silently say these phrases over and over and over again to yourself. Why? Well, 2,600 years ago, in the discourse on the two kinds of thought, the Buddha said, what one frequently thinks and ponders upon will become the inclination of the mind. And in so many words, that's just saying thoughts are habits. And modern neuroscience agrees with this. Same sentiment with like neurons that fire together, wire together. Even Rick Hansen has that saying, we use the mind to shape the brain. So we had that neuroplasticity that the Buddha was speaking to so long ago, that every time we're saying, may I be at ease, we're carving out a new pathway within our brain. You know, it's kind of described as like dirt roads. You drive down a dirt road enough, you're going to have that tire mark, you're going to have that track. It's going to be easy to drive down that dirt road. So every time you're saying, may I be at peace, you're driving down that dirt road. And let's be fair, let's be merciful. You may have some old dirt roads in your neural networks, in your brain. You may say, may I be at ease? And the brain says, hell no, I suck. I'm awful. There's no way I can be at ease. May I be at peace? And all sorts of criticism. No, I can't meditate right. I'm a bad meditator. So the invitation here is to wish loving kindness towards the thoughts that aren't loving or kind. You know, this is like self-love, but it's like a radical self-love. Normally we think self-love is those brief moments that we have no thoughts of judgment or shame. With radical self-love, what we can do is look our self-hatred right in the eyes and say, I can love you too, self-hatred. And so this is an invitation to love all the parts of ourselves, the parts we like, the parts we don't like. And why? It's very practical. If we're talking about neural pathways and habit of thoughts, if hatred arises in your mind and you meet it with more hatred, all you'll be doing is further ingraining more hatred. But if hatred arises in your mind and you meet it with love, whoop, we're taking a turn on a new pathway. As Tara Brach says, there's only two parts of your experience. There's what's loved and what's longing for your love. And as judgment arises within your mind, oh, come on in, making peace with our judgment. So any of these experiences are worthy and longing for your love. And so this is what we'll start maybe about 10, 15 minutes of formal loving kindness meditation so we can really just experience it for ourselves. And if the only thing you do is just be kind to yourself, regardless if this is painful or joyful, hey, you're nailing it. There's no way to mess this up. So back into these phrases. May I be at ease. May I be at peace. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be filled with loving kindness. And that'll be the practice. And I'll guide you through it. All right? You with me? Okay, let's do it. So I invite you, if you're physically able to find an upright posture. Now, there's so much valuable information at the front of the body. And when we sit with an upright posture, it just opens up the lines of communication with this mind, body, heart system. And so finding an upright posture while softening the body around the upright spine. And then resting the body in a relative stillness. And if it feels right for you, allowing the eyes to close. But if that doesn't feel right, just having a soft gaze in front of you is totally suitable. Maybe we can downshift with a few deep in and out breaths. And gently guiding the awareness inward towards the body, scanning throughout, softening any points of tension held. Starting with the face, softening the brow, the eyes, the jaw. And scanning downward into the shoulders, and feeling the weight of the arms resting and the hands resting. Notice this beautiful quality of rest that arises when we release. The resting hands. Softening the belly, bringing ease and gentleness to the belly. Feeling into the point of contact with your seat, support of your seat, surrendering this body to your seat. Scanning throughout the legs, all the way down to the feet. This in and of itself is an act of loving kindness, resting in an embodied awareness. Because in moments of stress and activation, we naturally become disembodied. So by gathering the awareness into the body, it communicates ease, it communicates security, it communicates safety. So each time the mind wanders, just guide it back to the body. All right. So let's guide the awareness even further inward towards your heart. Begin to breathe in and out from this heart space, this sweet spot of the body. It may feel right to put your hands on your heart, to caress your heart, to hold your heart, while at the same time allowing the heart to be held by these hands. And let's shift into this loving kindness practice by silently saying to ourselves, may I be at ease. Just breathing in and out. May I be at ease. May I be at ease. May I be at ease. And naturally, the mind will wander, just welcoming it back with ease. May I be at ease. Breathing in and out from this heart, expanding it further with the phrase, may I be at peace. May I be at peace. May I be at peace. As conflicts arise in the body, pain of the body, conflicts arise in the mind, the scattered mind, conflicts arise in the heart. Meet them with peace, not to change them, but to welcome them. Meeting conflict with peace, with the phrase, may I be at peace. May I be at peace. May I be at peace. Breathing in and out, expanding the heart with the phrase, may I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be kind and gentle with myself. regardless of how I am. I like myself, I hate myself, whatever. May I be kind and gentle with myself as I am. And breathing in and out with this open heart. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. Filling up the body, the heart, the mind, things I like, things I don't like. May I be filled with loving kindness. All right, so inviting these phrases to work together. May I be at ease. May I be at peace. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be at ease. May I be at peace. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be at ease. May I be at peace. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be filled with loving kindness over and over again. Now, if it feels right, maybe expanding the heart even further by bringing to mind a friend who has supported you on your path of recovery and well-being. Somebody that rests in your heart as a good friend. Begin to just send this friend some loving kindness. May you be at ease. May you be at peace. May you be kind and gentle with yourself. May you be filled with loving kindness towards this friend. May you be at ease. May you be at peace. May you be kind and gentle with yourself. May you be filled with loving kindness, friend. Just resting with this friend in your heart. Okay. And so let's end this meditation with a few deep in and out breaths, like we started. And as we do so, allowing the body to move in whatever way feels right, shifting, pivoting, dancing, whatever, allowing the eyes to open, coming back to the screen. Oh, all right. We got some spirit fingers to connect. We're coming back with loving kindness. I'm shooting love out of these spirit fingers. Thank you so much for your practice. Um, yeah, like I said, this is something I very much believe in. Beth, I was sending you loving kindness, by the way. So you're my spiritual friend. Hopefully you receive that love. Yeah. So this practice of loving kindness, while we do this in what we call formal meditation, of sitting still, saying phrases to ourselves, inclining the mind, don't stop. If you find benefit in this practice, keep going. Right now, I could use some loving kindness. Wish me loving kindness. And then the next person you see and the next person you see, just keep it going and you'll see that benefit of that inclination. Because I learned this practice when I was in a deep depression. Um, I live with depression, and right now it's in a bit of a remission. And I think a good part of that is due to this practice of loving kindness, because my thoughts are definitely something that activates that depression. And when I first took on this practice, I was deep into my recovery and deep into my meditation practice. But I was working with a teacher, and every morning I'd wake up and I do just that formal practice. May I be at ease. May I be at peace. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be filled with loving kindness for 30 minutes. And then I'd go to work. And when I went to work, I was working at a restaurant. And I got to work at 9 a.m. and I was doing prep. And so I was cutting tomatoes. And anytime I was cutting tomatoes, I was thinking, may I be at ease. May I be at ease. May I be at ease. And then it was time to cut the onions. May I be at peace. May I be at peace. May I be at peace. As I'm like crying from onions, being at peace with these tears, right? And then it was salad time. I'm cutting the salad. May I be kind and gentle with myself. May I be kind and gentle with myself. I was cutting the veggies for like the hummuses. May I be filled with loving kindness. Okay. And when it came time for the restaurant to open, I moved to the front of the house. I was a server, and it was like a lunchtime place. So there was like a line out the door. And when they're getting ready to turn that sign, typically my mind would go to, fuck these people, God, give me a break, all of that. And if I followed those thoughts, I would be depressed. I would have to go home early, right? Because I'd be too tired to get through my shift. But I took on this practice from 11 to 12. Every person that walked in through that door, I thought, may you be at ease, may you be at ease, may you be at ease. And every person I came in contact with, may you be at ease, may you be at ease, may you be at ease. And then from noon to 1, may you be at peace, may you be at peace, may you be at peace. Just wishing everybody well. And that kept my energy up because, that depression would exhaust me. I kept my energy up. Then the next hour, may you be kind and gentle with yourself. And then the next hour, may you be filled with loving kindness. And it was like, I got through the shift. I got through it. So keep this going, and I hope you see benefits in the same way I have. So looking at this quality of loving kindness, if we're meeting it with recovery and uncovering the heart, I do want to talk a little bit about addiction. Some of this may be a little bit just a dry reminder about what addiction is, because I think we have some confusion around what the hell addiction is to begin with. The first way I want to talk about addiction is a critical view of addiction. I want to have this critical awareness because it's often popular, especially here in the United States, to view addiction as a moral failing. And when somebody's an addict, we isolate them from society, we lock them up, and we punish them until they learn their lesson and they decide they don't want to be an addict anymore. And that's ridiculous. And you'll definitely learn why later, but it's ridiculous. And I name this not as a way to be overcritical, but to notice that I sometimes try to punish myself to not be an addict. When addictions and cravings arise in me, I think I can hate that part of me out, and then I won't be an addict anymore. And I want to have some awareness that that's not helpful. But the other ways we look at addiction as what we call the disease model, which kind of makes sense. My grandfather was an alcoholic. My father was an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. And I have zero clue if there is a genetic disposition for addiction. And I like the naming of it. Like, it's a mindfulness practice where you could say, my disease. That's my disease speaking to me right now, or that's my disease acting up. And it helps us take from it being right here to right here. And then we could start observing it as a disease. And I just don't want to explain it away as a disease too. Because when we start to observe it, we start to see there may be something underneath it too. And so this next way, as I'm going through addiction, I'm like refining it more and more into something that I generally identify with. But this next way, like this third way that I'm explaining addiction, is gaining in popularity due to the works of like Gabor Mate, that we view addiction as a response to trauma. I want to briefly talk about the brain. There's two parts of the brain that I want to give just a working model of understanding trauma. There's the hippocampus and there's the amygdala. The hippocampus is the part of the brain that stores long-term memory based off of emotion. It works with what we call explicit memory. And it stores that memory based off of emotion. So I have no clue what I ate for lunch last Wednesday. It wasn't emotionally significant. So the hippocampus didn't go online and say, let's store this memory. But I do remember what I ate on my wedding night. There was a lot of emotions, a lot of excitement, a lot of fear, a lot of stress, a lot of joy, whole lot of emotions. So my hippocampus went online and worked with those parts of the brain that give me context, a storyline, an understanding that was 13 years ago, understand that I was in Florida, understanding all of these things to give me an explicit storyline to understand. But when the emotions are too heightened and very threatening, and we experience some what we call trauma, the hippocampus bows out and the amygdala goes online. And it's when we don't feel equipped to handle the situation we're in, whether that is through shock trauma or developmental trauma. We may feel too young to handle the situation we're in. We have the activation of the amygdala. The amygdala is the part of the brain that has fight, flight, freeze response. It's that oh shit mode that we fall in sometimes. And the huge difference between the hippocampus and the amygdala won't tell me a storyline of reason. It won't tell me that was 13 years ago. It thinks it's happening right now when it gets reminded. So one example is I've been attacked from behind before. And now when somebody's standing behind me, I get this gross feeling. It feels like disgust. My hands start sweating. My belly gets tight. And I just don't feel okay. And I know if I have a drink, that will soothe that anxiety. Like if I go to a party and there's a bunch of people standing behind me at the party, if I go to the bar of the party and have a drink, that soothed that a little bit. Okay. And then the drink wore off. Oh, time for another drink. And then, okay, that did a little bit. Oh, wore off. Time for another drink, right? And that's where the saying goes, you never get enough of something that almost works. Drinking almost works, right? It was the best resource I had at the time, but now I found something that actually works. And what I'm talking about, what actually works, is kind of connected to this topic of connection. That we can look at trauma, yeah, as a cause of addiction, but it's not necessarily the trauma itself. It's how we regulate the trauma. It's how we bond and connect with people that dictates whether we are addicted or not. So we are pack animals. Humans are mammals. We work together, even if it's on a screen, right? This is how we do it. This is how we pass down information, pass down culture, regulate emotions as a group. And so even on screen, this has happened to me. If I just start yelling right now, you would feel a sense of excitement. Like, oh. Or if I started telling you a sad story and started crying, you would probably feel sad as well. You may actually start crying yourself. So many fun smiles I see of my friends on here. Oh, I'm smiling. Why? Because emotions are contagious. We feel with one another. It's a beautiful thing that we have, those mirror neurons. Right? And so when it comes to something like anxiety, and I'm at the party and I'm feeling that anxiousness from my amygdala, the alarm bells are going off. And I'm like, okay, I can reach for that drink, and that drink is going to help me, but not for long. What's really going to help me is a friend. If I go to a friend and I say, I'm just not doing okay right now, and that friend looks at me, holds space for me, and says, yeah, I feel that. I got you. I'm here with you. We're gonna be all right. We got this together. And that actually works. That's actually what soothes the anxiety, when we let another person into our heart. It's kind of like horses. If you've ever seen horses, like I teach at a lot of treatment centers, and equine therapy is very popular these days. There'll be a group of horses and they'll run. And then, when one horse starts slowing down, the rest will start slowing down. One horse starts running, the rest start running. And they like read each other very well. So if I'm like starting to run, right? And I go, oh, I'm running. And then somebody else is like, yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Oh, I'm slowing down. I'm slowing down. So I don't like this. If you're anything like me, I don't want to even say any of this, because it's like, oh, like regulate trauma and we need to let other people into our hearts. I'm like, people are the whole reason I have trauma to begin with. Now I have to go to them? And it's like, kinda, yeah. As Brene Brown says, not everybody is worthy of our vulnerability. So what we do is find that Sangha, that refuge in that Sangha that the Buddha was speaking to. And we find trusted people to welcome our hearts in with. And that's hard. That's hard because we may have a distorted vision. And so when we start practicing loving kindness, we clarify our vision. For many years going into recovery rooms, I just didn't trust anybody. So many times, just sitting in the back of the room, just like, these aren't my people. I don't trust them. They don't understand what I'm going through. And having that storyline. Then I learned love and kindness. Sat in the back of the room. And when my mind picked on somebody and said, that person doesn't understand me, they got it better than me, I think, oh, may you be at ease to that person. May you be at peace. And I'd still have that agitation in the mind. And it was like, okay, both agitation, isolation, fear, avoidance, and may you be at ease. And the more and more I went to the meetings, the more and more I'd be like, okay, I'm just practicing love and kindness now, until I got to a point where I could share. And then, okay. And then eventually I would start going up to people saying hello to them, especially the people that I was like, oh, that person's better than me. I saw that fancy truck they drove up in, and that person doesn't understand my troubles. And it's like, okay, maybe I can go up to that friend and start to understand what they're going through, and allow them to understand what I'm going through. So that importance of connection. One more little silly story. Um, that on the advertisements, we said the opposite of addiction is connection. And that phrase comes from, I can't remember, some TED Talk. Everything you know about addiction is wrong. That is the name of the TED Talk. And in this TED Talk, they talk about Rat Park. And it's a famous study, but it very much identifies what type of rat I am. So in Rat Park, what they did was they took a rat and they put the rat in a cage by itself. One lonely rat in one lonely cage, but with 2 bottles of water. One bottle had just plain old water. The other had cocaine all in it. And so the rat by itself has 2 bottles of water, has 2 choices. And what happens to the rat? The rat drinks a whole lot of cocaine water and dies. And so what they discovered from this study is rats love cocaine too. I don't know why they did this study, but yes, I get it. Cocaine is fun. Okay. So somebody was like, yeah, that was a weird study. Why are you torturing rats with cocaine? That's terrible. So they took this study and expanded it, and they got a big old cage, huge cage, and they made the cage a suitable environment for rats, and maybe then some. And they built Rat Park with, the inner tubes and the hamster wheels and everything a rat could ever want to have a beautiful time. And they filled it full of rats, not just one rat, a whole bunch of rats in this giant rat park. And they had 2 bottles of water. One, just plain old water, one with cocaine water. And what happened blew my mind. None of the rats died. 0 rats died. And it seemed like some of them just did cocaine, but it seemed like on accident they preferred the regular water. And why is it? It's our isolation that keeps us addicted. Because rats are mammals, we're mammals, So yeah, so loving kindness helps us break free of that loneliness that will kill us. And it helps us regulate ourselves so we can replace our addictions with people, trusted people we can rely on. So I think that's all I want to say. This practice has been a benefit. Well, I want to say more, honestly, but I would love to hear if you have any questions and open it up to you and give you all the love and support you need, because once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Mikey. And at this point, I bow to you for the first time for the excellent talk that you had. And thanks for bringing in the connection, because we are now here in connection with each other, and it is just so important. And as we go to the Q&A, I want to